Okay, so in light of our recent offensive woes on the Ravens squad, there's been some talk, debate, what have you, about what the Ravens can do to kind of get the offense on track. Me and Brodney have been of the opinion that, look, we just need some more talent, okay, especially at the wide receiver position. Now, a lot of Ravens fans and fellow YouTubers believe that we need to just go ahead and let the young guys play. And to a certain extent, I agree with that, right? Devin Duvernay definitely needs to get more snaps to see what we have in him. Even Miles Boykin, he's getting the snaps. He's not getting the targets, but
Miles Boykin needs to get more snaps on the bench. He's not doing it. He had 21 career games. He's got like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. You've seen enough out of Miles Boykin. He doesn't need to be playing.
I think so. But Devin Duvernay, okay, the few times he's gotten the ball in his hands, he's made something happen with it. So absolutely, get him more snaps. But at the end of the day, I don't believe he's the answer either. You just need. I mean, we always needed more experienced wide receivers, but we definitely need wide receivers with talent as well.
Yeah,
and that brings up the argument that we're going to talk about now. Julio Jones is available, right? Well, not officially available, but we believe he's available.
But everybody in Atlanta is available.
Yeah, yeah. He's somebody that we really like. There's some question as to his skills declining. Maybe he's getting a little older. He's injured a lot. But my thing is, he's still 10 times better than anything that we have on our team right now, including Hollywood.
Yeah, again, we thought about it before. You're not comparing Julio Jones in 2020 to Julio Jones in 2016 or 2017 or whatever year. You're comparing him to what you have on your roster right now.
Exactly.
And he's a much better player, like you said, than any of the wide receivers in Baltimore.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm willing to trade for him. And we're not talking about a first-round pick or anything like that. Honestly, for me, anything outside of a first-round pick, I'm good with. Even a second-round pick. For some people, they might think that's too high. But I'm looking at our past drafts. What are we using our second-round pick for?
Yeah. Talk about second-round picks. J.K. Dobbins, what was it? Kamala Correa was a second-round pick. I believe, wasn't Tyus Bowser also a second-round pick?
Yes.
Mount Cody, they got him in the second round. Arthur Brown, they got him in the second round a while back. Second round is not a guaranteed hit.
No. And we got to get out of that mindset of valuing picks over proven talent, right? I don't care about second round pick. That second round pick most likely is not going to be as good as Julio Jones right now. So if it's a second round pick, it may not even cost a second round pick to get Julio Jones at this point. Atlanta's getting ready to do a fire sale. So I say whatever they're asking for, as long as it's not a first round pick, go ahead and give it to them. And don't worry about losing a pick. Don't worry about the cap. That's another thing I hear. Oh, he was going to cost too much. No, we can make it work.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll cost a second round pick. I mean, like I said, he's 31. He's injured right now. You could say he's on the downside. He's not as good as he once was. He's still a good player, but he cost about, for a team that trades for him, he's going to cost about $11 million this year. He's under contract for the next few years at a pretty decent size salary. So he's not going to cost a second round pick, most likely.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you look at it, his cap number right now in Atlanta is $20 million. And I could be wrong about this. I could be misunderstanding. But from what I understand, if you trade for a player, you don't have to pay their prorated bonuses that have already been paid out, like their signing bonus and things like that. So for Julio, you take away the signing bonus, you take away his option this year that was already paid back in March. You're talking about $11.2 million.
Right.
Like, what's a championship worth to you?
Right. If we had to move some things around on the team to make him fit under the cap, so what? Like, what do you want to hold on back to that cap room for? What do you think we're going to miss out on?
Nothing. Willie Snead's making a little over $5 million this year. Go to Willie, give him an extension, lower that number for this season, and Julio is under the cap.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
You've mentioned it before. if you want to get players, the cap room is not going to hinder you from doing that.
No.
The Kansas City Chiefs had $100 in cap room this offseason, and they signed Pat Mahomes to an extension. They signed Chris Jones to an extension. Did it get somebody? I
And
think they got
Travis
somebody.
Kelce.
Travis Kelce to an extension. That's not a hindrance to get players on team. And they just signed Honey Badger the year before.
Yeah.
If you want players, you can get players. Julio Jones wouldn't be hard to get, and he would help out our offense so much. One of the things about that we're saying about Lamar Jackson right now is that he's not trusting the rest of his wide receivers, right? He looks at Mark Andrews, he looks at Hollywood Brown, and he's, if there's nothing's there, he's doing something else with the ball, right? Check down, running, or throwing away, whatever. You get somebody like Julio Jones in there, don't you think he'll feel a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah,
looking his way.
Well, yeah, and more to the point, like because it doesn't have to be Julio. I mean, we're just using him as an
example. Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, I don't want to hear about how he costs too much. You're wasting $17 million on Matt Judon right now.
Yes.
They gave, I know they took it back because that's how Baltimore do, but they gave $10 million a year to Michael Brockers this offseason. They gave Earl Thomas a big contract and sent him packing. That's still counting against the cap. Right? Calais Campbell's making over $10 million a year. Derek Wolf's making $7 million a year. Brandon Williams is making over 10. You don't have a dominant defense. So why are you okay with spending all that money, but it's pinching pennies on offense?
It's honestly, that's just what we're used to in Baltimore. We're used to having dominant defenses and just trying to get by on offense. And making that switch over to having a dominant offense and getting by on defense is just something that many fans feel uncomfortable with. So we got to get out of that mindset. And look, we as fans can think that way. It doesn't matter. But the organization has to get out of that mindset. They have to say, okay, we have a generational talent at quarterback, and we have to surround him with all the talent possible to make sure he succeeds. And the defense has to take a back seat to an extent. Not saying the defense has to get bad all of a sudden, but the primary focus needs to be building the offense.
Right. And, I hear a lot of, well, if they pay for a wide receiver, then, who are they not going to pay? Doesn't matter. Look at your defense. There are two players on that defense who you would look at and say, hey, we have to have these guys. And that's Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. They're both signed. You look at the offense. The only guys that you need on that offense are Lamar Jackson and Ronnie Stanley. And it doesn't even have to be Ronnie Stanley necessarily. One of the tackles. Orlando Bloom. I almost called him Orlando Bloom. If he can play left tackle. I mean, he played left tackle all throughout college. He played it the other day. I mean, obviously you would prefer Ronnie Stanley, but if he's asking for Laramie Tunsil money and you can get Orlando Brown for cheaper, go ahead and move him over to the left side. But the point is Lamar plus his left tackle. Mark Ingram don't matter. Gus Edwards don't matter. Hollywood doesn't matter. Mark Andrews doesn't matter. These guys are all replaceable if you're going to get a high-end talent.
Yeah.
Hollywood hasn't shown to be that yet. He's shown flashes, but he hasn't been consistent. Now, obviously, that's not an issue. He's on his rookie deal, but in general, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All those guys can go. If you were going to trade for Allen Robinson and you ask me who doesn't get their money then? Don't care. Get rid of all of them.
No, I agree. If we're bringing in proven talent, especially top tier talent, our guys, I understand the feeling of wanting to develop your own guys, but Baltimore has shown you that as far as wide receivers, we don't have the personnel to do that. Not right now. Greg Roman is not that person to do it. So get proven talent at that wide receiver core, and that's going to fix a lot of issues, I believe. We still have some issues, with the O-line. That I can kind of wait to see how that plays out. We got Tyree Phillips, who's starting. The Ravens do a good job cultivating the interior line position. But you losing Marshall Yanda is a huge blow. So if that doesn't work itself out, that's going to be another thing that we have to focus on this offseason. And, you can't underrate that move.
Right. And again, like it's to this point because Baltimore, the GM, the front office and the coaches, they don't respect the offense. It didn't have to come down to oh well, let's give up a third or fourth round pick for Julio Jones and pay, and overpay for a guy who's declining. You could have taken care of this at any point in the offseason and you chose
Yep.
not to. You could have
Yep.
got Stephon Diggs. You could have got DeAndre Hopkins. You could have went and signed Robbie Anderson for next to nothing, who's tearing it
Yeah.
up in Carolina right now.
Yeah.
You want to sit and say all I hear from, even I mean, forget the front office and the coaches. All I hear from Ravens fans is defense, 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 defense. And now the game's starting. You want a wide receiver. Well, you got to pay now.
Yeah, that's all there is to it. Also, we could have drafted T. Higgins. I
Could have drafted
understand
T.
Patrick
Higgins.
Queen. That's one of those things. It's hard to explain, right? Because Patrick Queen looks excellent.
Mhm.
I love Patrick Queen. I'm happy that he's on our team. But if you're asking me who I would have taken to this day, it's still T. Higgins. I would take. Well,
Absolutely.
actually, I would have found a way to trade up to get
Yeah.
one of the other wide receivers, right? CD Lamb or somebody like that. But if I had to make a pick right there, I'm picking T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Right. T. Higgins is going to, if he can play, and so far he's looking good, right?
Mhm.
If he can play, it's going to be more impactful to us than Patrick Queen is.
Right. And this is the second time that Baltimore's done this, where you had a really deep wide receiver class and they just said, oh, we'll pass. They did that when Odell and Watkins and them came out. They took CJ Mosley. This time you had that deep class. They take Patrick Queen. Now, granted, this time they did take Duvernay a little bit later.
Yeah.
Next year has a lot of wide receivers in that class as well. They better draft one.
I
And
agree.
they better draft one high.
I agree. And sign AB.
Well, that's the frustrating part to me. And I'm not a Ravens fan, but I'm hearing a lot of it because we do the show and everything, right?
Yes.
You say sign Antonio Brown. He's an elite talent. You know that.
Yeah.
And people don't want to do it because of his attitude. Okay, fine. Get that. So you don't
I don't
want
get
Antonio Brown. No, but I'm saying, okay, you don't want Antonio Brown because of his attitude. Okay. Julio Jones, Allen Robinson. Oh, well, they cost too much. Okay, well, what is it? Like, you're not, I've heard people bring up Michael Gallup or Mike Williams. You're going to have to give up too much to get them. Okay, well, you're not getting a pristine prospect here at this point in week 5. You chose not to address wide receiver. So either you're going to have to overpay in terms of their salary or overpay in terms of what you trade, or you're getting people who have some type of issue like Antonio Brown.
Yeah, and if the issue is his attitude, that's a non-factor to me.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the game. I'm sorry. Like, as long as he doesn't get into trouble off the field that's going to result in him missing games, I do not care one bit, and neither should you.
Even if he misses games, I don't care. Like, I've heard people say, Des Bryant or Mohamed Sanu, bring them in. There's no risk because if they're not good, you can just cut them. Cool. If Antonio gets in trouble, you can cut him.
Yeah,
that's it, and you're right back to where you're at now. So don't care.
No,
go get somebody for Lamar to throw the ball to before you get embarrassed in January again.
I'm hoping that he's still on their radar. Now, right now, he is currently serving an 8-game suspension. And let's clear that up because there's confusion with that, right? People think that he has to get signed before he serves that suspension. I thought that too. But the fact is, he's serving the suspension right now. So after week 8, he should be available for any team to sign him and he can play. Yeah. So my hope is the Ravens are waiting until, week 8, week 9 to sign him. And, we'll have him. We'll have him then. Mm-hmm. So, no, definitely. We need something else right now. That offense is just looking sluggish. We're fortunate to have, the weaker part of our schedule right now. Yeah. I don't know if they're trying to work on some things out there. It's not working. It's not working. We're playing Philly next week, and we'll do a pregame video of that. But I'm picking them to beat Philly. Philly's another bad team, but Philly's one of those teams that they can just have a good day on offense, and they can give us a lot of problems.
Listen, they almost snuck up and got Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh scored 38 points.
Yeah.
So in the short term, get Duvernay on the field, see what he can do, but also be making calls.
Yeah, absolutely. But offense, focus on offense. Don't worry about pass rushes. Don't worry about safety. We need wide receivers. We need offensive line. Work on getting Lamar weapons.